Hi, we're back again, and I'd like to give you a little background on myself and my time at City College and horticulture in general. Um, my dad was a gardener. I grew up in this neighborhood in Ingleside, and my dad was a gardener. And since I was 9 years old, I worked with him on Saturday and during the summer. And as you get older, I guess I might have been about oh, nine, maybe then too. And my grandmother lives right up here on Harold Avenue, and we'd sit out in front. They were building City College, and she used to point at it and said, "Someday you'll go there." And, oh, Grandma, nobody in our family goes to college, so little did I know where I'd end up. So anyway, working with Dad, and I went to Lowell High School, and all my fellow classmates were all going to Cal, Stanford, and I couldn't really see my parents paying for all that. So I thought maybe I'll go in to Cal Poly, but go 2 years to City College. And I thought I had to have a major, they said. So when I went and applied, I used to go with my dad to the nursery, and I thought, God, nursery looks like more fun, you know. Who wants to be a gardener like Dad? You're grubbing there and weeding and raking, and the nurseryman comes out and he's all dressed kind of nice and sells some plants, and the surroundings are nice. So I went to work in a nursery, and then I found out the big days are Saturday and Sunday. I couldn't go hunting, fishing, or any of the things I really like to do. And so, by the time I finished 6 months, I changed my major to landscaping because I thought, this is more fun, planting and designing and doing all this. So I started in on that, and then I found out it's hard work. Landscaping is harder than gardening. I mean, hauling lumber and rocks and doing all, because we didn't have a lot of equipment in those days. Shovel, pick, no tractors, no post hole diggers and stuff. So anyway, and then my dad died, and I only had about a year of City College in, and I took over his business. I thought, I've been in City College for a year. I've been working since I was 9. I know this business. Well, believe me, when you're the boss and you take it over, you know nothing until you get some real experience. So anyway, my dad died in February. By the time we got to June, I get polio. End up in a hospital, laying on my back for 5 months. My feet never touched the ground. So I get out, and I figure I got to go back to City College and learn something. My grandmother said, "Oh, I'll put you through college. I'll help you. What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I want to be a gardener." And she looked at me. I had a brace on my leg, a back brace, crutches. And this guy is going to be a gardener, because she knew what gardening was. So anyway, I did. I started going, and the rest was history. In 1964, I got my landscape contractor's license, and by 1969, they offered me a job to teach here at City College, and as a part-time instructor to fill in for one of my former instructors who's on sabbatical. And when he came back, they invited me to be a full-time instructor along with another instructor, Sid Lewin, who took over for this instructor also. And he took the job full-time and put in 25, 30 years. And me, I figured, I like my gardening. I didn't take it. So I kept gardening, and then with the part-time job, I taught and taught. I've been around for 50 years is when I retired. Down by the Ocean Avenue off-ramp for 280. That's where the old horticulture was when I went to school. Then they moved up here, and I took classes here at night because I was working by then. I hadn't finished my teaching. And along the way. I got, like I said, the contractor's license. I went to teach. I went back to UC and got a teaching credential. How many of you know Luther Burbank? If you've ever heard that man's name. And he's a famous horticulturist from California, from Santa Rosa, Sebastopol area. You may have heard of the Burbank potato, the Santa Rosa plum, and there are probably many, many more plants and fruits that I'm not aware of. Okay. So anyway, to show you how famous he was, one day I was watching, it was called Yule Hauser on TV, and he'd do these histories. And there was Luther Burbank sitting on a bench up in Sebastopol with Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. They all looked like they were in their 70s or 80s, you know. And I thought, whoa. Yeah, I learned about Luther Burbank when I was in grammar school. And how famous he was to be sitting there with these other people that everybody knows, Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. But I bet you many people that you will ask that know Luther Burbank used to hire lots of gardeners. And they don't hire as many anymore because funding and everything. I still think you need the education because you don't want to always be on the end of the shovel. The more knowledge you have, the more experience you have. You could be the foreman, the supervisor, and if you never want to do that, you could be a guy sitting on the tractor instead of running the shovel. You know, be kind of cool. And a lot of people maybe work on the tractor and stuff and move on up to cranes and stuff like that. Very, very high-paying job. You know, so it's a good place to start. I always encourage you to come back and meet the head of the department and at the time some of the instructors and tell them where you went and what you appreciate about City College. You know, because I think it's a great start. I encourage more people to go to. We had one student, I got to tell you this. She was in our class, got straight A in my class, and I couldn't figure her out. And on the last day of class, we were telling her, what are you going to do now? And she says, well, I'm going to Harvard. And I thought, oh, that's why you got straight A, you know. And she's just really sharp. So you can go to City College and end up in Harvard. Don't ever cut yourself short.